our 5-part series of how to become more effective at selling real estate. Okay, this is part 1, 6 principles for a realtor's success. And we're going to talk about 6 key areas that are really part and parcel, fundamental to being successful, not just in real estate, but in any business. So we're dedicated to your success at RE Broker and to really helping you to not just make more money and keep more commissions, but to help you to grow, to be the best version of yourself as a real estate agent as possible. We have 5 exciting sessions in this 5-part series. Today, 6 principles for realtor success. In 2 weeks, how to get listings and fill your pipeline. Boy, that is such a critical component. We have a lot of interest in that upcoming webinar as well. By the way, our webinars have been booking out registrations, so when you get those invitations, sign up early. December 16th, client lists and closing more transactions. And then in the next 2 weeks, character traits, what makes a person a successful real estate agent? And really, it's true in all areas of business. And January 13th, advertising to create more transactions. More transactions is really what it's all about as an agent. Now, we have a professional growth track. We want to kind of walk you through that, and then we're going to dig into some detail in terms of growing to being the best version of yourself. First of all, ongoing education. Anybody who is at the top of their game in any industry is a lifelong learner. Technology is changing things at a ever-increasing pace, and so critical that you're a lifelong learner. But not only that, people who are successful understand the concept of time management, learning how to, and we'll dig in a little bit deeper on that concept today as well. And then not just managing your time, but managing yourself, motivational management. The difference between high producing agents and low producing agents, motivation is always one of the keys between those. And there's more than motivation too. Lead generation, understanding the skill sets and how to generate, where's the future business going to come from? Critical component. Any real estate agent who's been at this any length of time will tell you that. And then contact management. If you're a real estate agent, here's a news flash. You're in the people business. And learning how to maintain a presence, learning how to maintain contact and build a presence and build a reputation and build an image, so critical, an area of professional growth, really in any business. We have to begin to build and repeat clients and all of that aspect of business. And then finally, business strategies. Along with that are systems. With the emergence of technology today, there are systems that, you know the old saying, you don't know what you don't know? There are systems that help agents to become so much more effective. Even going back to time management, there are million-dollar producers that are spending 40 and 45-hour work weeks. They're not working 80 and 100 hours, but they've learned how to work smarter and not just harder. And business strategies and systems are absolutely a part of that. So let's talk about ongoing education. Here's a good takeaway. Real estate is a business that can and must be learned. And a takeaway, you have to be involved in personal research. Now, one of the things we're going to see in a moment is we help you with that. And additionally, you can't learn it all yourself, webinar training. Now, one of the things we do for you here at Real Success Webinar Training is we do the hard work to make you the best. We do the constant research. Let me just say this. We spend thousands of dollars to go sit in front of the best teachers in the nation. We travel, sit in front of them. We go to the best seminars online, pay the money. We went to Expo and talked with CEOs of emerging technology companies, talked to two CEOs whose companies were just coming out. Their coming out was at Expo this year. And seeing and getting into their heads, that's my background. I was a CEO of an IT company. And seeing how they're working to bring technology as a tool to help real estate agents, it's an exciting time to be in this business. And there are tremendous trends and information. And we do that work so we can take all of that information and we do ongoing research online with our team of researchers. Why do we do all this? So we can distill that down every month into a 30-minute, hard-hitting, no fluff webinar to help you to really understand and get the tools that you need to be able to grow and be a great high-producing real estate agent, to make you successful. So what are our sources of information? Well, the standard sources, real estate experts, yes, we talk to them, we listen to them, and we read them. Real estate publications, we scan those publications when they come out. We're always looking for information that can help our agents be more productive, or real estate agents become more productive. Let me say that in this webinar, we have a mix of, our audience is mixed. We have a number of REE broker agents who's the sponsor. It's a great company. They're innovators in technology and have really, they're the first to market in this whole flat fee brokerage, and they have the technology that has allowed them to continue to grow and become the largest in this industry in California. So real estate's important, but also for our seminars, business periodicals and things like the Harvard Business Review. Why? Because they help you to be a better business person regardless of what your particular industry is. Also, real estate seminars. Yep, we go, we travel, we pay the money, we sit in the seats, we hear the pitches, and we also get all the advertising emails afterwards with them trying to sell us their stuff. Internet research, again, constant task. There's so much information. I think that's one of the challenges for an agent today who wants to stay at the cutting edge, is there's just too much information. So our task is to take that information and distill it down so that you can get that in some bite-sized pieces that will really help you to be effective. So we take this ongoing education piece and try to help do it for you. New releases, what's happening new in the industry, what new technology is happening, and then interviewing key thought leaders in the industry so we get inside the head and anticipate where things are going and what's happening. So success principle number one, we're going to look at 6 of them today. Here's the first one. Make webinar attendance. We suggest our webinars where we distill all this information down an absolute must. Now, time management. Here's a takeaway. Highly successful, and I think you'd all agree with me, right? And unsuccessful agents have the same exact amount of time in a week. Successful agents don't have any more time. They just use their time differently. It's called calendar discipline. Now, as we talk about this, let's just talk about how you structure your work week. Bivocational. We know there are some agents on the line today in our webinar that work full-time jobs, and they're trying to get into the real estate business full-time by working extra hours. So let's just talk about time management from a bivocational perspective. First of all, everybody has the same Monday through Saturday, but if you're bivocational, you pretty well, if you're going to make the second career happen, you're going to have to sacrifice those nights and be out there communicating with people when they're off work. Also, you're going to have to be up in the morning. People are often making the biggest financial decision of their life, whether they're selling or buying a home, and they expect timely response. They expect access to you. So make sure all those phone calls and emails are answered before you head off to work, and do the same thing at lunch. Make sure that you're communicating with them. Being busy is fine as long as you get back with them, and bivocational realtors are especially busy. And of course, you're going to give up your Saturday. That's just critical to making your business work, whether you're out showing homes and building your business. But one of the things that we emphasize strongly, and there are a lot of research studies cross-industry that prove this to be true, you have to keep your batteries charged. You're not in a sprint here as an agent. This is a marathon. If you're going to be successful and consistent, make consistent money week in and week out, then you're going to have to learn to pace yourself like a marathon. Keep your batteries charged. Get that recreational time. For some people, it's a walk on the beach. For other people, it's going out to dinner with your wife or spending a day playing with your kids. Whatever it is, keep your batteries charged. Critical for you to be effective, and a lot of research backs it up. Now, what about the full-time vocational? Well, realtor, they have the same exact Monday through Saturday, except they have the benefit of going full-time. And they can. Successful million-dollar producers don't have to give up every evening. They can have great family lives. One thing we emphasize again Keep your batteries charged. Top producers that, again, have learned to work smarter and just not harder, where our calendar and time really doesn't become our taskmaster, but we learn to manage it successfully and be successful realtors. So here's the success principle number 2. Always spend at least 51% of your time working on your business and less working in your business. Now, there's a difference between working on your business and in your business. So what are the differences? Well, working in your business, you can get caught up in this, transaction documents. By the way, if you're an RE broker agent that's in our webinar today, your TC costs are completely covered if you use our preferred escrow company, 5-star. But don't get buried. Get TC support. This can absolutely consume you. And if you get a high maintenance client who doesn't, and they don't know what they're doing, and you don't know what you're doing, you can end up going crazy, spending so much of your time when you could be out getting the next sale and working on your business. Client support. Again, there's that old 80-20 rule, but so often 80% of the people that are taking 80% of your time are really only giving you 20% of your income. Look for high value clients. I know $1 million producers that are cutting off even buyers because they're just too high maintenance and they want to be able to keep moving, and it's all about production. Answering emails, and yeah, we can feel like I'm a real estate agent because I'm answering real estate emails, but again, or data entry. All of these things are examples of how we can get buried and eat up so much time working in the business. But we have to be able to work on the business. Prospecting, where's that next deal going to come from? And networking, building relationships out in the community, and advertising so that we're growing the business, and implementing systems that will help us to work smarter and not just harder, and to get more transactions every month. So let's talk about motivational management. Your future success, boy, this is so true. Again, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Your future success depends on how consistently you stay motivated. It's just the truth. So here's motivational mantras. We want to talk about that. Now, WebMD has top recognized signs. I think there's 6 of them here, signs of a lack of motivation. Now, don't get depressed if all 6 of these apply to you, but recognize these truly are symptoms, WebMD's top symptoms of a lack of motivation. First of all, elevated anxiety. Boy, that's especially true if you're getting towards the end of the month and man, oh man, you just haven't got any deals that are going to close and you got a family to feed. Another one, lack of concentration, lack of ability to really concentrate. Your mind's on overdrive. Diminished self-confidence. It's amazing what lack of motivation and stress can do to somebody. Loss of a positive attitude. We can start to become our own worst enemies, and we can start to become cannibals. We start consuming ourselves if we're not careful. Drowsiness and headaches. I think I'll go take another nap. Top signs of a lack of motivation and lack of joy. Life's a journey. How critical it is that we stay joyful in the journey. By the way, my favorite top sign of a lack of, this is at least my personal favorite, it's not medically proven or anything, but when I think of an unmotivated person, I think of somebody who's watching The Price is Right in their pajamas. Why? Because as The Price is Right, what is it, around 10 in the morning or something, or 11? If you're in your pajamas watching The Price is Right, you probably should take that as the sign that you're not motivated out there making the calls and building your business. Today's mantra: failure only exists for those who quit trying. And one of my favorite quotes from a great basketball coach of all time: things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. Now, that's a little bit of a tongue twister, but there's some deep thought there. How many of you know things don't always work out the best, right? That person you were working with, you showed them 20 houses and all of a sudden they went with another agent. Are you kidding me? Things don't work out the best, but John Wooden, a winner, points out things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. So make the best of it. Move on. Pick yourself up. Failure only exists for those who quit trying. So success principle number 3 is this: spend time every day. This is a daily thing, working on your level of personal motivation. If you don't, you end up unmotivated. Boy, days can turn into days, can turn into weeks, and lack of productivity. And of course, it affects your welfare and the welfare of your family. Now, lead generation. Here's a takeaway. Look, no one is the best at everything. Just doesn't exist. If you know somebody who thinks they are, they're probably the most aggravating person you know, right? So create a niche. You can't be the best at everything, so create a niche. Well, what does that mean? Well, here's a definition. Intentionally creating a narrow brand or brands, you can have more than one niche, that allow more specific market impact. It's sort of like having the full wood shaft of the arrowhead behind the arrowhead so that you can penetrate a market and begin to generate business. So what do we mean by successful niches? Well, let me give you some examples. I can guarantee you some of these you have seen in your neighborhood being marketed by agents who are, guess what? They're making a living at real estate successfully, consistent money, because successful niches do create that consistency of income over time. So here's one, the neighborhood expert. I happen to live in an area of coastal Oceanside called Fire Mountain. And I can tell you, I get flyers in the mail from the Fire Mountain real estate expert agent who knows this neighborhood and can get me top dollar for my property and has special gifted knowledge, from heaven about my neighborhood. And then there's the marketing expert. Let me tell you what, we have a marketing machine. Well, if you list with us, we will we'll market your property like nobody can market your property. And the consumer goes, sold, I'm in. Then there's the home staging expert. Look, get your stuff out of your house. We'll stage this thing. We'll sell your house for more money than you dreamed you could get because this house has potential you just don't see and understand. And all kinds of niches. Again, there's the divorce sale expert. Boy, and by the way, we're going to be talking about successfully generating leads in 2 weeks in our next webinar. Stay tuned for an invitation. I know that's going to be maxed out. And this is another one of those areas where, look, I'm an expert in, how do we say this delicately? I'm an expert in conflicted relationship sales. You can't even, they're so conflicted, they can't even meet together to talk to the girl. That's okay. I can meet with him alone and her alone, and I can get them to come to agreement and get the best price, and we'll get the best outcomes, and I'm an expert at this. We'll talk about how you can actually market yourself very effectively as a divorce sale expert and generate consistent leads and consistently make more money at real estate. Or there's the short sale expert. And that used to be critical with the huge economic downturn that we had. Less important, but it's always going to be a niche market that some people are looking for, and you can be right there, put yourself in front of them and get that transaction. And then there's the home listing expert. We are experts at listing homes. Let me tell you, we even get helicopter pictures. I mean, we get drone pictures. We do 3D image pictures of and the home listing expert. Then there's the men in uniform expert. Boy, I'll tell you, veterans like to deal with veterans. Police officers love to deal with their fellow comrades who are police officers, firemen with firemen. We were just at Expo. I was there with Sarah, my assistant, and we were talking to a company that they actually, it's a site where high volumes of veterans go to, and you can actually buy certain zip codes. And when they live in a zip code and look for a VA who's a real estate agent, bang, your face shows up with your expertise, whatever service you served in, whatever you want to say. Again, these are areas where you can niches that can help you, and each one of them generates a different stream of prospects to you. The quick sale expert. You probably heard we have somebody in our area. We'll sell your house in 4 days or we'll buy it. Well, you haven't read the fine print. How much will they buy your house for? It isn't exactly top market value. You can be assured of that. But nevertheless, that's a niche and you can market it. And people that are desperate to sell their home quickly, get yourself in front of them. Put yourself in their path so that you end up having an opportunity to grab that transaction. What about the maximum price expert? We are experts in getting the maximum price for your house. Man, that warms the heart of a seller, especially if they're not in a hurry to sell, but they want to get the maximum price. So position yourself. That's a niche. You can market yourself that way creatively. Or how about the low range price expert? Look, your whole house is, it's $200,000. That's the low range in our area. But let me tell you what, I'm an expert at selling in this niche. I know how to move homes I know how to price them. Or there's the high range expert. We have in our coastal area, there's people Sort of all the rest of the real estate agents inland are jealous of them, but they're the ones that get all the listings of the house on the beach. And they're the experts in the high range, price range. And they pull up in the luxury cars and they dress for success or whatever. However you niche yourself, these are all legitimate niches. And then there's the home buyer's expert. Man, if you're going to buy a home, I'm the person you need to talk to, because I know how to listen well and get you the home of your dreams for the price that you want. A million niches. By the way, I was just up at Lake Arrowhead with my family. We spent a week up there, and I grabbed the real estate magazine, which I'm in a habit of doing. I was looking at all these rich homes all around Lake Arrowhead, multi-million-dollar mansions in the hills surrounding, and I came across a niche that I'd never seen before. I thought, what a brilliant niche this agent has come up with, and it's the dock niche. You see, those rich homes, the docks go for a separate price or even get sold with a different house and dock access. And this guy guarantees, he's the dock expert, he can get you the best price, bundle your dock with your house, and he'll get you the highest price. He'll get you the highest price for your dock if you want to sell it separately. And again, really creativity and thinking about your neighborhood can really help you to develop a niche. So success principle number 4 is this. Real simple. Develop one or more. By the way, I encourage people to develop more than one niche. These are all market channels that stream leads to you. Develop one or more niches and market, market, market. So you can take control of your future and do something about generating those leads. Contact management. So let's talk about this. Maintaining a presence. Trust is built through 3 words: consistency, consistency, and more consistency. We really build a brand. We maintain a presence as we contact people. So here's some research, by the way. This has to do with maintaining contact through emails. A lot of ways to do contact management, but networking, etc. But Smart Insights is not a real estate site. It is a business intelligence site. But as a result of one of their market studies, they determined that over emailing, and there are other studies that prove this, can lead to unacceptable levels of unsubscribes and an increase in inactives. By the way, we see agents that have hundreds and hundreds of people on their contact list, and they're drip mailing and they're contacting them. And you know what? Sometimes less is more. You can really overwhelm people with too much communication, and critical to understand that. Sometimes less is more. So here's a MailChimp study. MailChimp, by the way, is a publicly traded company. Fortune 100 companies use them all the way down to independent realtors and business people. They did studies across industries and discovered that the more frequently their clients sent emails, the lower the individual campaign click-through rate got. You want them to open your emails? You want them to hear what you're saying? You want them to just pay attention to the frequency. And by the way, going back so stay in the sweet spot. Going back to Smart Insights, their marketing study, monthly emailing is the most common frequency and effective. Boy, we want to communicate more and more, but we can overdo it with people, burn them out. If they won't open the emails, what good does it do even have it on our list? By the way, I can tell you, there are top producers that won't have a list of more than 50 people, and there are other top $1 million a year producers that want a list of 15 or 20 people only that they work with. Think about that and different styles of running a business in contact management. We'll talk more about that in future webinars. So here's an emerging trend from Smart Insights. Effective marketers are becoming more strategic, and content is moving more towards behavioral and trigger-based marketing. What does that mean? Well, if you can get anniversaries and birth dates of people on your list, have a reason. A home just like theirs in their neighborhood just sold for a certain price. That can be a trigger for you to email one of them and say, hey, by the way, in case you're interested in selling your house, or by the way, if you know anybody who's interested in selling their house, a house just like yours sold for such and such. So that it's not just another form, mass email, but clearly it's something that's specific, whether it's birthday, anniversary, content. And this is an emerging trend that really is showing what effective email-based campaigns are based on. Take advantage of the research. Success principle number 5, Build a great contact list and communicate with the right frequency, quality, and strategy. So let's talk business strategies now. This is our final point. We have a special guest, by the way, that's going to be with us in a minute. It's going to share with you some important information about improving your business. So business strategies, become systems smart. You know, every builder needs the right tools. And not only is that true, but this is true too. Every successful business invests in good business tools. Now, if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, if that's all you can afford, so be it. But I'll tell you something, there are some tools that will help your business to rock. Now, think about this. Can you imagine a carpenter today making a living in our technology age, making a living building homes with a handsaw? Now, you know, that strategy worked when, you know, you had all the neighborhood showed up for house raising, right? And they all had the handsaws and they sawed the lumber and all. But, you know, you got nowadays you come up, you got the power saws, the pneumatic tools, and you're banging it together, and you can't make a living. Yet I see real estate agents, I'm not kidding, who are literally trying to build their real estate business with a handsaw. And they're out there sweating and stroking, and they're not getting where they want to go because they're not using good business tools. We've got to up our game if we're going to be producers. And boy, there's a lot of exciting tools out there that we're excited in weeks ahead to introduce you to. So here's some examples of critical business tools. This is just a few. There are many. Number one, contact management, CRM systems. I built a company with a world-class CRM system. I know them inside and out. Content delivery systems, professional grade websites. Boy, we're going to spend one whole webinar talking about how to have a website that will help generate business. Calendaring systems, and then compelling content platform, a platform to deliver compelling content that will keep the attention of people. So here's our final success principle. Before we get to our guest here today, I'm going to share with just a couple of minutes at the end some important information that you want to hear. Invest in the right tools to be a great professional agent. You can't go into any industry without making an investment. Now, we know if you're a new agent, you sacrificed and you went out and you passed and took those tests and you passed and the state exam and you paid the money and you pay money to stay, but you got to invest in the right tools to be a great professional agent. So just by review, ongoing education, key principles for success. We help you with our webinars to really stay at the forefront. Number two, work on your business, not just in your business. Number three, take time to stay motivated. It's consistency. Number four, develop a market niche or niches and market like crazy. Number five, build a contact list and communicate like a professional. Don't burn them out. And number six, invest in the right business tools. So now we come to our Q&A time, and we just want to open it up. We had a pane there, and we've got want to open up and see if we have any questions. We do have a great and thanks from Tony. Awesome. And I think we have another question above or below that. Okay, that's it. Okay. If we don't have any questions, we're going to dive in right now with our guest. And our guest is Brett Jerhoff, who is with Cornerstone Mortgage. It's a great company. They are optimized to work with us for incredibly smooth transactions. He's got some information he's going to share with you. I want to tell you something. Brett's the kind of guy, if you're in a transaction, you pick up the phone and he answers it. I know how important that is for agents to have that kind of support and that kind of involvement. And so Brett, we just want to turn the floor over to you. He's got a PowerPoint presentation. You want to go to camera so we can introduce him to the folks? Here we go. There's Brett, great guy, motivated, very helpful, tremendous support. And Brett, you're going to share some information. The industry's changing. We talk about that all the time. Some recent big changes, and go ahead and share with our audience.
Yeah, and first I want to say thank you for having me on. A lot of good points there that I think apply to really any business, as you said. And you know, I want to help the agents on the call become more successful in their business too. And before I go into all the slides, some of the things I see from successful agents, I usually work with the buyers, of course. So, the agents that call me up and talking about time management and all those things, the ones that call me up and say, I have a buyer, I'd like to get them qualified before I start showing them houses. And so they're not wasting their time and write the offer, then come time to close, they can't get a loan. So that's part of what I provide. I think I help educate the realtor and the buyer through the beginning of the process so that when we get into a contract, everything goes smooth and everyone has a good transaction.
So critical. They spend so much energy and time, right?
I mean,
Showing them all these homes, they finally find one and they find out that they've been showing a unqualified buyer
correct.
all this property and wasting their time. Great point.
It happens quite a bit. So just some sort of news that's changed in our industry and real estate in general. Some of you may know, some of you may not know that are new. The new, what we call TRID laws, which is the Truth Integrated Disclosure Rules that sort of took over from the HUD, which was, and the Good Faith Estimate. And I think I have a couple slides on that. But basically, there's two new things that are changing in the lingo, just so that you will be competent when your buyers say, hey, I got this from my lender. Do you know what this means or that? And there's two things. There's called the loan estimate, and that replaces the good faith estimate. There's no more good faith, no more truth in lending. It's all on one form called the loan estimate. And then there's another thing called the closing disclosure, which we send out, the lender sends out at closing, and we send that out and they have to wait 3 days before they can actually sign their loan docs after that goes out. In the past, there was none of those waiting periods, so that's sort of a big thing. And so I wanted to help navigate what I've seen for the first about a month and a half this has been out, some of the things that have worked and what hasn't worked, and so that you guys can have a successful closing.
And one of the great things is, with all these new changes, I know you do this, I've heard this from our agents, is they get in trouble or need information, they can just call you.
Correct.
You pick up the phone pretty much all day long and into the night, don't you?
Pretty much. And to talk about workflow, we do everything electronically. All of our disclosures and everything electronically go out. And part of the rules is if you do by mail, which I'm not going to say, some of the bigger banks have done that or are doing this now, they have to wait 7 days to sign. So I've seen transactions from that use a bigger lender bank that have been gone past the close of escrow. We do everything electronically, which speeds up the time waiting, I guess. Main issue I've seen so far is, as a lender, we have to honor our lender credit that we issue. So if I say I'm issuing a $4,000 credit to your buyer, and 2 days before we're going to close, the seller says, I'm not going to do the repairs, I'm going to issue a $5,000 credit, I can't go and lower my credit down like I could in the past. So that makes some changes at the end of the transaction, which could delay, and we've had that happen. So it's very critical that the buyer, the seller, the agents, everyone is in constant contact. I'll be sending out weekly updates, where we are in the transaction to both the buyer and seller. But anything that's come up during the transaction, it's very critical to get in contact with the lender. And when we issue, it's called the closing disclosure, the CD. You'll hear these terms going forward: LE, CD. When we issue that, that basically means we're final. Nothing's changing after that, pretty much. So that's usually issued right before we close, but we have to wait 3 days. So just giving you a heads up for timing.
And of course, you take care of all that for them, Brett, which is awesome.
Correct. I usually am in contact with the TC most of the time through the end, but and then one last thing is just I got a slide there of what we offer. We pretty much handle any type of loan: FHA, VA, conventional, jumbo. We have a few niches, I would say. Going on the theme of the niche is some bank statement programs. I'm doing a couple right now for a couple realtors themselves, that write off a lot of their income on their tax return, but they do have monthly deposits which we can source. So if you have clients that maybe have been turned down, but are self-employed and do make good money. They just don't qualify for a traditional loan. I've been able to get them qualified. And then, on top of that, loans that maybe they had a foreclosure a couple years ago, but they're ready to buy again, but they would normally have to wait longer periods. We can help with that. So.
Awesome. And credit issues as well.
Yep, we do scores down in the 500s on a lot of these programs. Of course, the rates aren't quite as there, but it does get them into their home. Some people really just want to get in the home and get back in the game and not watch that equity keep going away every month. So.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, if you have any questions for Brett, we're just going to close with an opportunity to, we had a number of questions in our last, that came to Brett in our last webinar an hour ago. Anybody have any questions for Brett? Now would be the time to submit them in the panel, and we'll wait just a moment. We want to, again, thank you for attending today. We wish you a great Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year. Busy time of year, and great opportunities always abound. So we don't see any questions coming in. So we want to thank you for being with us, and God bless you. Have a great day. And Brett, thanks for joining us today as well.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.